Hello. I'm like doing an intro for the first time ever. Hey, this is Week Didn't Start, where we take a particular song.
Do we even need to...
You'll figure it out. If you haven't figured it out by now, we take a particular song and we investigate its lyrical content and recap the news events of the week. My name is Jerzy. I'm here with Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hi, Jerzy.
And this has been an eventful week. You were in Canada.
I was in Canada.
Your home and native land?
Yes. Toronto, to be specific, but not to be Pacific, since we are on the East Coast. Yes, this made for an interesting week because we recorded last week on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then we're kind of hastily gathering news for this, which is a Monday. So here we are.
Yeah. So this is recapping the week that ended on the 16th of February, right? And let's get into it. So we ask a couple questions every week. Your relationship to the song in question. This particular week, like what was it like adapting this week's news for you? Like what was the process like? And then 3, like the relationship to the news itself. The churn, the looking up the information. And they're all kind of related. But do you want to start with any particular one of those?
Sure. I think I have one note for each bucket. So speaking of the first, which is my relationship to the song, I'm starting to get more aware, and I'm not going to say more faithful, but more aware of the internal rhymes or the slight moments of like assonance that aren't necessarily intentional rhymes.
Yeah.
And the things, and I've been disappointed in the things that I discovered this week, as if in order to adhere to the song's exact format, I had to make sacrifices that lessened the potential of what we are setting out to do.
Ooh.
We'll give you an example.
Yes.
The word trouble in the Suez, which I think is verse 2. Yes.
Yes.
So trouble in the Suez has a number, Khrushchev, Suez, both end on, male syllable endings. Like there are no weak endings.
Right.
And you can't do, which means that you can't do weak endings on either of the last 2 lines. And it kind of bums me out because it's like the escalation seems to want to have what it has in other verses, which is these like long strings of, it's a point of pain for me.
So yes, I took a real close look at the song structure this week. I also listened to the song for the first time. Do you listen to the song every week?
No, I used to every week and now not so much.
It's a lot, but I had lost touch with a couple things. One of which is the escalation of the performance in the song, which is pretty wild because the artist, again, we will not, for this episode, we are not mentioning the name of the song or the artist.
For this episode exclusively.
I've just decided. But our beloved pop rock, our piano man.
Jilly Bowl.
Yeah. Starts as a singing and ends the song screaming and growling. So I was sort of tracking like how it changes and how that affects, because we're not really breaking down or reinvestigating or redoing the performance of the song. We're redoing and looking at the lyrical structure, right? We are not performing the song.
Correct.
Part of me was looking at, okay, what are the points in which the performance escalates, goes into the growl, and like, can that inform something about the structure? And I think it really does in the verse 3, which is the one that's sort of broken into 2 pieces. Little Rock Pasternak, which has the breakdown and the key change in the middle. It starts really high, and he sort of just starts growling in that one. And then the key change in the breakdown is like sort of a reset. Another thing I noticed in the performing of the song is just in the production of it, that thing, especially in like the late 80s, early 90s, that artists do. I mean, they still do it now, like hip-hop artists do all the time, where they'll layer in multiple tracks of their own voice to like build a dynamic range and volume. I don't know if I'm using these audiophile terms correctly, but like there's more of the same person's
multiple layers
voices
of the exact same verse being sung over top of one another.
So it's like you hear 3 piano men instead of right. But he harmonizes with himself. a little bit in certain moments. So by the time you get to the end of the song, there are multiple piano men singing simultaneously, but in the very first verse, 2 verses, it's just a solo track. So I found that very interesting in terms of the escalation. Also, I tried to do something this week is match all the rhymes and a lot of the structure. Like as an exercise, because I had the time and I wrote it over the course of the week rather than the last couple days and hours before we recorded.
Wow.
And there were some things that I was like, oh, I really matched it up, but all the rhymes match. And I'm deciding like whether, like how much of that is part of the structure or not. Like how much of the structure of these lyrics are based on the knowledge we have of the song as a piece of culture and like slotting current news into that. You know what I mean?
Yes. And
yeah,
my thought about the matching rhyme for rhyme, where we get to the specifically second. So in the second verse, Alabama Khrushchev, and then Trouble in the Suez.
Yes,
and also, because it's Budapest, Khrushchev, Trouble in the Suez are all kind of same rhymes. And then hypodermics on the shore, China's under martial law, rock and roll, Cold Wars, I can take it anymore. All theoretically the same.
Right.
Right. And so there's that idea that matching the specific rhymes might be it's just a nice faded sound of some other music outside, but that's kind of matching some cultural link. I'm not sure how valuable that is because of how we've been approaching the writing of the song, and we may have a conversation about this afterwards, but I'm getting a little bit like cryptic crossword about it to meet the rhymes, where I'm like, oh, I'll word play it, I'll try to sum up the news that ends in a rhyme that matches the thing I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Instead of like trying to match one news piece to another because the rhyme matches, like because those two rhymes match.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I feel like I'm becoming more beholden to the original rhymes in the song, and I'm not sure if it's adding value to the endeavor or taking away. I haven't decided.
I had never considered it before, like ba 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 a ba 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 a ba 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 ak ba 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 of ba 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 of ak. Like I was never trying to match that. Mm-hmm. For me, this week it unlocked something, but maybe because I was never trying to do that in previous versions. I was only looking at the structure and not trying to match the rhyme scheme. And when I deviated from it, that was the most fun. Mm-hmm. And there were a couple places where I felt like there was like a fun. There was some. Lebanon is in the news. Afghanistan is in the news. There are some things where it's like, oh, this mirrors the original song.
I saw a couple moments of that.
Yeah, so that was fun.
Okay, so should we discuss? Yes.
Do you want to move to the next question?
I do.
Yeah.
The next question. Well, did we get kind of into, incidentally, our approach to synthesizing the news into song?
Yeah.
Because I guess my last feeling, so I guess we could skip to question 3, which is how we feel about the news or our relationship to the news itself.
Yeah.
The process, I would like to say, so when you Google, when you Google news from a place that is not America,
yes,
you get regional targeted news.
Yes.
And when I tell you, searching for news from while I was in Canada,
yes,
for me it hit home just how much of a bubble we've been working in with American news, because the stuff in Canada feels as like it genuinely feels like it has the same weight of cultural importance to Canada as some of the news we're covering in the U.S. does to this country.
Yes.
And I really am curious about how we address that, because I think obviously was American and
Piano Man.
That's
going to be beeped out in the in this
edit
episode.
Point. Yeah. Okay. Piano Man was an American and
is an American.
Is an American. Oh, he's alive, right? Shit.
Very much so. Coming to Madison Square Garden.
Getting it all wrong. But this man is American and writes about a perspective, but I found so many news sources or news articles that actually weren't in your original links, because I found myself, I didn't want to put two things about Barr. I didn't want to kind of re-litigate the an item that had already been mentioned a previous week but didn't really have import. So I just want to figure out how we solve for that going forward, because it struck me. Oh, I'm so sorry, the cat's in my face. It struck me how limited our scope has been.
Yes. So I've been feeling the same in a number of ways. So I have two responses to that, which is A, like identify more sources. Mm-hmm. One thing that I found in my roundup, and it really does help to aggregate the news items day by day rather than to go back. Like once the day's gone, it's just sort of hard to capture it. And not that this totally fixes the problem for reasons that will become immediately clear, but two of my main like new trending news, latest headlines sources, homepages are worldnews.ca and BBC.
Interesting.
And then also like MSN, and I always go to the Times. I go to Democracy Now!, which tends to focus on underreported world news, specifically as it relates to, you know, war and things like that. But I think identifying more sources, you know, I find myself going to Al Jazeera a lot, you know, too. So the news outlets themselves, because the Piano Man had the benefit of, you know, we're looking back on 40 years of history and what's been synthesized into the cultural consciousness, and we're looking at it as it's happening, which you've already talked a little bit about. So to be responsible about where we're going for our news is A. So I have another sort of like, just like tweak for us or a frame for us to think about. And then I have a pitch for you.
Okay.
So you notice I put those numbers in parentheses next to each of the days this week?
Let's find out. I see the number 25.
Yeah, so like Monday, 27.
Sure.
Tuesday, 26.
Oh, and those are the number of news items covered in the verse.
In each verse,
Okay.
So one thing that I found cool was like I wanted to have more news items than the number covered in the verse. And like we've done things where we will have like maybe two news items in a verse that in the original song had four or something, because it's two couplets. It's like a two items verses. You get what I'm saying? So being at the end of Monday or on Tuesday and needing to find more stuff from Monday, part of it takes you to like weird news, like stuff. But also the record snowfall in Iraq was a news story that I would not have found if I didn't have to find at least, 30-something stories for Monday. So that was a thing that sort of motivated me into it. So I think the exercise can push us into...
Love that.
Into it.
And maybe we can number the news stories instead of bullet them. And that way we just know when we've hit 5 more than we need.
That's such a brilliant, simple solution that all we have to do is click a different tab in a Google Doc.
Listen, we're improving every day. That's the show.
That's the show. So my pitch to you is this. These questions are cool, but I think they're really all becoming the same question, which is like, how was this like?
Yep.
How was this like? How was this?
That is a good question. Go on.
What I propose that our 2 and 3 talking points for each show are the following. For each of us, what is a news story from the things that we've collected that was of particular interest or fascination to us that we can do a deeper dive on, that we can each bring in?
Love that.
And then the second pitch, relatedly, is something from the original song that we unpack a little bit.
Also love it.
Which we've done sort of casually. Like, wait, what was the trouble in the Suez, right?
Yeah. I love that.
And then by the end we'll have like the cool, great.
Yeah, I think that helps also speak to the thing that we are wanting to provide, which is both a balm for the exhaustion of the never-ending news cycle and a sense of the importance of being informed.
Yeah. It feels like this will make it a show.
Agree.
That people will get something out of other than us descending into madness week after week.
Which has and will continue to happen.
It's going to continue to happen. But then it makes me feel like it's a less pointless exercise.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there.
On that note, is there anything from this week that you saw that you dug into?
Oh, story-wise.
And I think it could be like, this is an underreported thing or something I would not have known. And hey, listeners, if we have any listeners, like, check this out. Or something funny and,
Sure.
Local.
So in my first verse, which is the second verse of the song, that is not the song because we are not performing the song, I have the words Thanatos T-Rex.
Yes.
Do you know this?
No, and I didn't see the thing.
I might not have even linked it because I was doing a little research. So Canada, the BBC reported on this, Canada discovered dinosaur bones from a new species of Tyrannosaurus rex, or the biggest species of Tyrannosaurus rex that they dubbed the Reaper of Death. Like, imagined to be one of the most dangerous dinosaurs of the T-Rex variety, and they nicknamed it Thanatos.
I love that.
Because there's the longer species name is like Thanatosius something. So that was pretty fascinating.
That's cool.
What about you?
I mean, mine's a little more of a downer.
Well,
but it's a little bit about this exercise, but it's, the ongoing war and famine and everything in Yemen, which there was this back and forth where U.S.-backed Saudi forces killed 31 people, including like a bunch of civilians in Yemen in retaliation for this plane being shot down by rebels. Ugh. And a lot of the world news, if you go to the world news tabs of any of those world news aggregators, yes, the deaths of these 31 people was a news item surrounded by 15 coronavirus things.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it did ping for me like, oh, there's so much going on, and the way that we're receiving our news is like, we've decided this is the news. This is the thing that people will respond to. And okay, so cool. You want to do that in future weeks?
The things we just talked about?
I mean, like do that, sort of standardize that for every week and say like, hey, I want to talk about this one.
I'm into it.
Any other weird?
One interesting thing was the TikTok dance, the Renegade dance. There was actually an expose on the original creator of the Renegade dance, who's like a dancer on Instagram.
Yeah.
And her dance went viral on TikTok. And then I saw earlier this evening on Twitter that it was actually originally reported 2 weeks ago on Vox by a different reporter. And all of the media aggregation that's happening is crediting the New York Times and not the original reporter, which is a shame because, of course, it's kind of a sad parallel to the way that the dance itself was appropriated across the internet. Anyway, that's all.
Well, in Renegade, so as TikTok observers, that's the number one, like, learn the Renegade dance. That's like what teens are doing on TikTok, and it became commodified in this week by the NBA in this weird way, because the NBA All-Star Game was in Chicago. Oh. And previously the Chicago Bulls had some TikTokers teach their like dancers like leading up to the All-Star Game, which I then realized was all leading up to this event for the All-Star weekend, had some TikTokers teach their dancers the Renegade dance. So it's like this song, this dance that wasn't some other influencers got popular for doing. They flew them out to Chicago, had them do this thing, and it was like, oh, TikTok, whatever, we're appealing to the youth. And then during the dunk contest, it was this clearly like engineered thing to get these influencers in as part of this, one of the players' dunk attempts, just sort of in the background. They're doing the Renegade dance and the song was playing. Well, he like did this very cool dunk, by the way. Aaron Gordon was robbed, but like the evolution of this Instagram dancer, that clip of the song, like who picks these song clips, just the way that it organically happens to now being totally commodified by this like international multi-billion-dollar sports league. Yeah. And that whole journey. That whole journey. And then all you need to do is say Renegade in the song. All right, let's go through it.
Let's do it.
All right, this is an unnamed song.
Not going to get away with that.
That recaps the week. No, it's just this week. All right. Gordon Sondland, DOJ, brooms can balance any day. Cruise ship outbreak, Bramless shut down, Vinman's got to go. Proact passes, cricket fixing, solar orbit, starts mission, North Korea, online seers, biggest firework blows. Russians deal with fake bombs, Oscars won't run freedom, mom, shady Russian satellite, and the fashion with Bill Nye, Israeli voter info leak, Secret Service, hotel fees, curb retweeting, Thailand shooting, Shabalala, goodbye. Dun, dun.
All right, here we go. Sean Fine, Sanders win, Denver bees Wet'suwet'en, Schumer yella, Presbukella, Bloomberg loves cops. PR settles what they owe, basic bitch dog show, Equifax hacker charges, Yang and Bennett drop. Flammable refinery, Newsy takes on AOC, budget cuts the safety net, winter win for those who let, Idlib, Malcolm X, South Dakota sucks at sex, via rail, locust hail, Thanatos, T-Rex.
Little Rock banned the frack, stolen bonsai trees are back, punching seats when they recline, no Swiss cheese for Palestine, Lebanon charged withdrawal, Garrett can play football, caucus party chair resigns, al-Bashir charged with genocide. Ice tracking Buttigieg, space signal, sprint to merge, peace deal, Baghdad snow, married priest a no-go, Utah migrant pain, questions in our DNA, prosecutors Bezos, indictments in Chicago.
Hope Hicks, Silent Sam, Bloomberg's meme spam, Renegade, fake Stratford trade, clumpings how the earth got made, shadow app by DNC, hottest Jan in history, broke McClatchy, West Bank brands, reparations from Sudan, BP spill worse after all, Pentagon will fund the wall, asteroid naivete, what else do I have to say?
Oh, we can just do these. We can do
our last ones.
Great. Birth control law for men. R. Kelly charged again. ICE ops, dick pics blocked. Saudi plane gets shot. Yemen Dennis Kobe prize. Census will be digitized. Avenatti extortion reunions in Michigan.
Alexa off with bracelet on, oh say can you see Shaka Khan, James Blake, Frost quakes, Dawkins bad eugenics takes, Major's murder will be tried, attempted cupcake matricide, male Molly violence encore, I can't take it anymore.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
I feel good about that one. There was
really
so
good.
much. I think we packed the most things in this week.
Yes. If we can, I wanted to mention these things to get your thoughts on them.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I'm getting cryptic crossword about it. So, like, a lot of the things that I wrote here, if you... Like, originally when we talked about doing this, we talked about, like, how to sum up the news in a way that gets to the meat of the subject.
Right.
Allows kind of a curious mind to Google.
Yes.
But I think I don't want to say threw that out the window, but I was like... What's the way that I want to say this? Like, and specifically I can cite a couple examples.
Yes.
South Dakota sucks at sex is a reference to an anti-trans bill that failed in South Dakota.
Yes.
So it's like both a comment on how they have bad opinions about gender, but also how, like, they couldn't pass the bill.
Yes.
And then later, the phrase... Let's see. There was asteroid naivete, which was like based on the NASA thing where it's like giant asteroid hurtling towards Earth. It'll likely miss, you know? So there was a lot for me of distilling what I was reading in the news into a kind of editorialized version of the recap. And I liked it, but I don't know what you think about it.
I really like the way that you wrote this week. I like the editorializing. Because the Piano Man does it too. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing he does in the structure of the song is just one word stands in for a whole bunch of shit. And in order to, I think within the structure of it, have so many references to a huge story, a huge part of history, just with one word, we've got to just do that. You know, and maybe there's some kind of parallel project to this, which is taking these and putting them, releasing the lyrics.
I had this thought, actually.
And maybe annotating them.
If you want to know what I really thought, it's that, and I was about to text you about this today, it's that we should do a Twitter account. We should just make a Twitter account that does, like, much like the Twitter account Limericking. Yeah. And we just do, like, the news every week recapped as the thing. Because it's already a thing. And, yeah, that was a thought I had, like, just to have it, the transcription.
We could link to something. Well, the mechanics of it we can figure out, I think. But if it's like...
We could do, like, listen here. Listen to the whole thing here. But, yeah, the reason I came up is I was like, there's also something... that I thought, or that made me think of it, which was the oral difference between some of the things we say, like, and there are a couple moments where we've written quotes around things.
Yes.
Because we know that there's wordplay, like the "Osei can you see Shaka Khan" in this one was like, I made sure to bracket the lyrics of the anthem, you know? So, yeah.
I did that on Little Rock.
Oh, yes. What was Little Rock?
Dwayne Johnson's daughter is going to enter wrestling.
Oh, see, that's so clever. That's so clever.
And that's, of course, the lyric in the original. It's Little Rock Pasternak.
That is so good.
I had a couple that I was very happy with. That one, and then...
What's No Swiss Cheese?
Oh, No Swiss Cheese for Palestine. I made a little... Mahmoud Abbas, Palestinian president, went to the UN and rejected the Trump peace plan for Israel and Palestine.
Oh.
And said that what you're offering us is Swiss cheese, like it's full of holes.
Wow.
So it was like the central metaphor for the speech. So
see, that's what I love. Yes.
The Lebanon... Well, so in the original song, it's Lebanon, Charles de Gaulle.
Yes.
So this was Lebanon charge withdrawal for their debt.
Must be so satisfying for you.
It felt really good.
I'm taking a picture.
You're taking a picture of your cat's
look,
toes right now?
His little
I mean, I don't blame you.
They're perfect.
I love this idea. We'll figure out how we can make it work, and we'll drop the handle.
Yeah, agreed.
Let's do that.
Great.
I'm excited about that shape.
Yeah.
Of things to come.
Yeah, and I'm okay if this is like a step-by-step, but let's definitely start with the format switch and so on and so forth. Cool.
All right. The next week has already begun.
Oh, God.